The Ultimacy of Jodo Shinshu, Shinran's Response to Tendai, by Alfred Bloom, in the journal The Pure Land, Volume, New Series 10-11, 1994.12, pages 28 to 55. Introduction. The topic of Jodo Shinshu as the ultimate teaching of the Great Vehicle is significant for illuminating aspects of Shinran's teaching which receive little direct attention because of their sectarian implications. Nevertheless, an understanding of the background which inspired Shinran to assert the ultimacy of the Pure Land path is essential in determining the relevance of his teaching for modern people. This essay moves on two levels. The context of the paper is the necessity for Shin Buddhism to address problems and issues of the contemporary age in which we live. I am using Shinran as an example of this response for his own time. The second aspect is the points of doctrine which indicate Shinran's efforts to develop a comprehensive perspective on Pure Land Buddhism as a response to the current thought of his time. The paper assumes that Shinran was a person of his times, aware of its character. However, it is where he goes beyond the religious and perhaps social character of that age to advance his own understanding and to assist other contemporary seekers that his historical and religious significance lies. A meaningful theory of salvation for contemporary people must be comprehensive in speaking to the human condition and in offering a deep understanding of reality and religious experience. Hence, it is important to take full account of Shinran's religious experience and his subsequent religious development and lifestyle, which are reflected in his writings. Shinran's response to the Tendai Lotus teaching reveals the breadth and creativity of his thought and offers a good example of the way in which Shin Buddhism must confront trends in contemporary thought. Further, the presuppositions of contemporary interfaith dialogue requires clarifying one's own stance and seeing its relation to other alternatives. The main point to be made in this paper is that, for Shinran, the Pure Land teaching, as he understood it, is not simply one alternative among a variety of possibilities to the practice and teaching of Tendai and Shingon. Though these two streams of teaching and practice formed the basis of medieval Buddhism, in what is generally known as the Kenmitsu Taisai, that is, the system of exoteric and esoteric teachings and practices, Shinran laid the foundation for displacing them. While to some observers Shinran's view may appear overly sectarian, he must be seen in a context which discriminated people in terms of class and religious ability. The major religious institutions were aristocratic and elitist. For them, Pure Land teaching was simply a tactical device for people lacking in full spiritual capacity. It is to be noted that Pure Land teaching received persecution, not because of the belief in Nambutsu or the recitation of the Buddha Amida's name, which was a subsidiary practice in all traditions, but because Honen and his followers, including Shinran, stressed the sole practice of recitation of the name. This issue was more than religious, having social implications as well. Confronting the religious monopoly of his time, Shinran reinterpreted Pure Land teaching as the supreme expression and representation of the truth of Buddhism. In doing this, he challenged the traditional understanding of religion. By drawing also on significant aspects of contemporary thought, he completed the logic of the evolution of Pure Land thought toward broader universality and rooted its teaching and practice in the very nature of cosmic Amida Buddha. This paper will demonstrate this effort by a survey of several key issues emerging from Shinran's writings. It is clear that the specter of Tendai teaching looms behind the issues on which Shinran focuses in the Kyogai Shinsho and elsewhere. Among the major issues he discussed are A. The fundamental reason for the appearance of the Buddha in the world. B. The principle of the one vehicle that grounds the path to enlightenment. C. Shinran's critical classification of doctrine and the method of correlating teachings, as well as the distinction of true and temporary or provisional. all of which establish his interpretation of Pure Land teaching as the supreme teaching in Buddhism. D. The renewed emphasis on Bodhi mind as the essence of Shinjin, or endowed trust, which is the foundation of the Buddhist path and the related principle of faith Buddha nature, Shinjin, which correlates to features of Tendai and Shingon on an other power basis. E. The universality of salvation, focusing on Ajatasatru as the most evil person, which corresponds vividly to the teaching of Buddhahood of the two vehicles, and the salvation of Devadatta in the Lotus Sutra. F. The elevation of Amida Buddha to the level of eternal Buddha, with no beginning and no end. The Buddha based on the Tendai teaching of Hangaku, as the all-pervasive and encompassing Buddha nature, which ensures the attainment of enlightenment for all beings. Shinran's reflection on his own religious experience within the context of Pure Land tradition led to the formulation of a religious perspective which took into account the realities of human existence, the nature of religious consciousness, and experience and the place of practice as an expression and witness of religious reality. His perspective, in its comprehensiveness and realism, challenged the prevailing religious understanding of his time and beyond. In similar fashion, it is essential that contemporary Shin Buddhists follow Shinran's lead in offering an existentially grounded, vital, and creative interpretation of the teaching for all modern people.